According to Google, by the age of 3, kids can grasp the concept of money. By the age of 7, their habits regarding money has already been set. Hi YouTube family, this is Latrice, one of your favorite people in the whole wide world next to everybody else that you know. So let's get started. Don't forget to stay until the end so that you can get this one incredible fun tip that you can do for your child. So stay tuned. So in this video, the first thing I'm going to do is share with you why it's important to make sure that your children are included in your finances and give you some ideas on what that could look like for you. Number 2, I'm going to share my own personal story and how I, got my personal financial philosophy and what that did to me along my journey. And number 3, don't forget I have the best tip ever from my friend Anna, and that's why you got to stay tuned to the end so you can get that tip, okay? So let's jump into it and get excited. So why is it important to include your children in your finances? Easy. They are going to have to deal with finances at some point. That's it. I've heard this, and you all can let me know if it's true. Most parents want their kids to be more successful than they are. So it only makes sense that you want to set them up in a way that they can be more successful, right? So you want to set them up in a way like you already know what your pitfalls were. So you're going to teach them about your pitfalls and say, hey, because I went through this, here's how I had to maneuver through it, right? So regarding finances, you want to set them up in the strongest way possible. And that the only one of the ways that I think you can do that is actively dealing with them regarding your finances. As you're growing through them, they get to grow through them. They get to understand them in a better way. So here's what you get to do with your child. You get to help them create a good relationship with money. That's essential. Like, let's agree, that is essential. And also you could teach them some really great some best practices. One of which could be a savings account, right? You could say, if I give you $2, you have to save half of it. Because why? They don't have any bills right now. So they have to save half of their money. And they know that they have to put half in a jar or take it to a bank, whatever is best for you, what you're trying to teach them at the time. And now they only have $1 left. And it's like their choice on what they do with it, and they got to handle it responsibly. Another one, my friend suggests that you could play store with your child, have home dry goods, cereal, put prices on them, give them money and say, hey, do you have enough for that? Like, that's really all fun activities you can do with your child to help them kind of solidify it in their own mind of what's really going on, so that when they go to the store, they're like, oh, mommy, can we buy that? Say, well, let's look in your pockets. How much do you have? Mommy's going to buy something, yes, but how much do you have for what you want to buy? Or daddy has money for what we're going to buy, but how much do you have for what you want? So that you could teach them, if you want certain things, you got to be able to afford those certain things. And I think that's just amazing. And again, I'm going to say it again. It just helps them create let me not guarantee it, but it could help them create a really great relationship with money at a very young age. I actually have a video that I'm gonna link here very quickly.
My dad actually had a background of finance growing up, and he always would try to teach me best practices for managing money. Saving, I actually started at the age of 5. When I had my allowance, I had to save 50% of the allowance that I made for college, and it really helped me not only see the value in kind of having this practice of saving some of your income for future things, but it also just allowed me to have a better relationship with money.
So she never had a negative viewpoint of money, because money was talked about in her family for years, and it did help her dad was in finances. Just saying. But for the ones that are not like you and I, we still can make that happen because we understand finances, or we're getting a better handle on finances. So I was just thinking about this, that before you go to like a grocery store, because you remember you want to play store with your child, right? You can actually write out the list with the kid, with the little one. And you can write out like here, and you can say, here's what we need. And this is what we're going to buy when we go to the store. So you remember, they're clear, here's what we need, here's what we're going to buy. So that when you get there and they're like, ooh,
Oh,
and they talk about what they want now, you could say, hey, okay, let's look in your pockets. This is why you could say, let's look in your pockets to see if you have enough for what you want. And if they don't, guess what, guys? It's okay to say, no, you don't have enough. But if you keep saving your money for it, you can get exactly what you want. That was a cool little fun. So here's my story about finances and what I understood. And again, regarding finances, it was nothing intentional in my home. My dad got custody of me from the age of 6th grade till 12th grade. Before him, I grew up in poverty. You know, my mom, she did the best that she can do. And then finally, my dad got custody of me. So I don't even know what money was like to me because, oh, you know what? I do know. I had a moment. I was like, I do know. We used to have food stamps. But back in the day when food stamps was colorful, it looked like Monopoly money. That's what we used to have. I noticed like whenever I hear people talk about that, they were embarrassed. I was never embarrassed about it because I figured it was getting us what we needed. But I do remember knowing that there was a difference between what we had and what others had when I was living with my mom when I was young, a little kid. So I do remember that. But other than that, that's all I knew. Money brought me stuff. That's it. So now my dad has custody of me from 6th grade to 12th grade. And that's all I still understand is that money buys you things. That's it. And I will never forget, I think I was in middle school when this happened. My dad was walking through the hallway one day and I heard him say out loud, not to me, he was minding his own business, probably talking out loud to himself. As far as I know, I don't really remember, so many years removed from that time. Anyway, I heard my dad say out loud,
I don't have any money.
I'm like,
okay.
Then shortly after that, he bought some comic books. And I remember thinking like, well, if he doesn't have money, why did he buy comic books? That was weird to me, but it didn't stay with me. The part that stayed with me is the fact that he said he didn't have any money. Here's why that's important. When I got into 9th grade, my dad would give me $20 per week in order to get food, right? You got to remember, the only thing that stayed with me is
He doesn't have any money,
so I wouldn't ask my dad for money. Why? Because he didn't have any. You know how some people ask their parents for money? I was not one of those kids. He would have to take me clothes shopping because he said it. Not because I was asking, he had to tell me. If for Christmas, as far as I remember, he told me to write out a list. You know, I wasn't one of those kids like, oh, can I get, because I didn't think I could because we don't really have money like that. At least that's what I thought. So in school, because he gave me the $20, that was my money, okay?
That's my money now because you gave it to me.
And so if I wanted to buy some clothes, I would only eat $1. I would only spend $1 at school per day. So that was $5 in a week. How much would I end up with at the end? $15. I know you all knew that. I know you knew that. And so that's how I started learning about money. Because I'm like, if I want something, my dad gives me $20, this is my own money. And if you don't remember my video from earlier, this video right here, I'm about to link right now. A little bit. I love to tell stories. Hopefully you like to listen to them. These are like good bedtime stories, right? So anyway, I'm gonna take you back in time. I was 17, I had just graduated high school. Very quickly before I graduated high school, I tried to get a job while I was in high school. And my dad said, why do you wanna get a job? And I'm thinking like, I don't know if he's playing with me or not, but okay. I'm like, so I can make some money. And he says, is that the only reason why? I'm like, duh, right? Of course. But you know, I couldn't say that to him, but in my mind, that's where I was with it. And he said, well, if that's the only reason why you want to get a job, then you can't get one. Like, I feel like he's testing my nerves. I'm just saying. So fast forward, he told me, Latrice, you will work for the rest of your life. You don't need to do that now. I'm like, whatever that means. So once I got 17, guess what? That video was simply stating my dad would not allow, he would not allow me to get a job. So I couldn't get a job. The only money I get is from you, and you're only giving me $20 a week. Like, I don't know how this worked, but it worked, and that was for my lunch. But for me, again, how I made it work and made it make sense for myself, I would spend $1 a day if I wanted to buy something by the end of the week. And if depending on what I wanted to buy, depending on the cost of it, I might have to wait 2 weeks, right? So that's how I started learning how to deal with money. And so, and I never told my dad about that, ever. to this day, he doesn't know. Maybe when he watches this video, he'll know. And so that to me didn't create a bad relationship with me and money, but it didn't create the best relationship with money either. So when I got older, when I got older, I didn't go with any of my wants for the most part. I would only go with what I needed. Everything else I would just save, because I didn't want to go through not having money, because that's all I remember. And then I do remember food stamps, right? So I was like, I definitely don't want to be on food stamps.
And because it was colorful money, and I don't want colorful money now, right? Now that I'm older.
Again, never ashamed of it. I just don't want it. I'm older. I can do it for myself. If I can work, I can figure it out. That was my motto. I didn't have an intentional relationship with money. I just had a relationship with money. Hopefully that makes sense for somebody out there. It was never intentional. It was just a relationship. And so with that being said, I realize now being intentional with money can really set you up for incredible success. And so that's why this video was very important to me to do and talk to you all about what you can possibly do with your kids, is because you can set them up for incredible success and a great relationship with money, which is very huge. Because if you think about your own, actually, that's a question from me to you. What is your relationship with money? How do you feel about it? And how do you use it? Now, without any further ado, we're about to get into that incredible tip. Stay tuned. The tip comes from my friend Anna, and I'm very thankful she shared this with me, and I'm giving this gift to you all. The best thing a parent can do for a child before they can count, talk, or walk, which is open up a savings account when they have their Social Security card. Boom! Just exciting, right? And you can deposit as little as you want, as much as you want. It all counts and it all matters, right? So that when they become of age, that account can be converted into like a checking account, something that they can use for their future. But it all starts with you and what you plan to do for them. And don't think anything is too small to do. It will all add up. And so that's the tip. So hopefully you all had a great time. Like always, I really enjoyed talking to you all today. Please like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. And until we meet again, have a great day. Bye.